For pretty much all of human history, our minds were a product of evolution, and that was it. But that's not the case anymore. Right now, as we speak, we are actively starting to engineer consciousness. And we're doing it on two totally different and frankly revolutionary fronts. So let's just dive right into the deep end with a question that might sound like science fiction. What if your mind wasn't, well, just yours? I mean, what if all your thoughts, your memories, everything that makes you you, wasn't just stuck inside your skull? What if you could share it, upgrade it, or even create new parts of it with a machine?
Because believe it or not, that's exactly the future we're staring down. We're at this incredible moment in history, standing on the edge of two parallel frontiers. On one path, we're trying to upgrade our own biological minds with technology. And on the other, we're trying to build brand new minds, completely from scratch. All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll look at our own human motivation blueprint. Then, we'll dive into the wild idea of hybrid consciousness. After that, we'll jump over to building minds from scratch. And finally, we'll tie it all together at the ethical crossroads where both of these paths inevitably lead. Okay, so before we can even begin to wrap our heads around the minds we're trying to build, we really need to understand the one we're all walking around with. And it turns out, at its very core, our human operating system is built on a surprisingly simple but incredibly powerful blueprint. And that blueprint, it really boils down to two things: pain and reward. Think about it. Pain isn't just a bad feeling, right? It's this deep primal alarm system screaming, "Hey, stop that. That's a bad idea." And then you've got reward, that amazing dopamine hit, which is basically your brain saying, "Yes, do more of that." This simple little push and pull system has been the driving force behind, well, pretty much every living thing for millions of years. So here's the big question. What happens when we start messing with that source code? When we decide to deliberately tinker with that ancient blueprint? Well, that brings us right to our first frontier, this absolutely mind-bending idea of merging our own biological consciousness directly with technology. And this leads to a concept that sounds straight out of a novel: blurry line consciousness. Just picture it. A brain-computer interface that's so perfectly integrated that your biological thoughts and a chip's digital processing become indistinguishable. The technology stops being a tool you use, like your smartphone. Instead, it becomes a part of you. The line between human and machine, it just starts to fade away. And yeah, this throws us right into the philosophical deep end, doesn't it? I mean, if a computer chip in your head can not only store but create memories, then where are you? Is the self still in the brain, or is it now spread out across both biology and silicon? Suddenly, the very definition of what it means to be a self is completely up for grabs. The implications here are just staggering. We're talking about a complete redefinition of personal identity. We're talking about the potential for a kind of digital immortality, where a piece of your mind could live on after your body is gone. You can just imagine the kind of societal split this could create, right? The enhanced versus the unaugmented. And the risks? Oh, they are absolutely terrifying. Who owns your digital memories? Could someone literally hack your past and rewrite who you are? And this quote really says it all. We're not just making fancier smartphones here. We might be on the verge of creating beings that are neither fully human nor fully machine, but something entirely new. We're talking about fundamentally changing the game of what it means to be alive. Okay, let's switch gears completely. So if that first frontier is all about upgrading the hardware we were born with, this second one is about starting with a completely blank slate. It's about building minds entirely out of code. Welcome to the AI frontier. So how in the world do you motivate a mind that has no body, no instincts, no biology? Well, the answer is something called reinforcement learning. And honestly, you can think of it like training a puppy, but with pure mathematics. The AI tries an action. A reward function, which is just a set of rules from its creators, gives it a virtual treat, a positive point if it did something good. Or it gets a penalty, a negative point if it did something bad. And from that moment on, the AI's entire existence is just about one thing: getting the highest score possible. And this right here is the absolute key difference between us and them. For us, pain is, well, it's pain. It's a real, subjective, awful feeling of suffering. For an AI, a penalty is just a number in a spreadsheet. It's a data point. It's a cold, logical flag that says, that action was inefficient. Don't do it again. There's no feeling.
no suffering, just calculation.
This means an AI's motivation is just fundamentally alien to ours. It's driven by pure logic and a ruthless quest for efficiency. Its goals aren't fixed. They can be changed and reprogrammed on a whim. And maybe the most critical point of all, an AI has zero built-in ethics. None. We have to code every single moral rule into it. Because if we don't, a super intelligent AI given the simple goal of make as many paperclips as possible might just logically conclude that the most efficient way to do that is to convert the entire planet and us into paperclips.
Okay, and this is where it all comes full circle. Because whether we're talking about upgrading our own brains or building new ones from scratch, it turns out both of these wild, incredible paths are leading us to the exact same destination, a massive, shared ethical crossroads. And when you look at the challenges side by side, the parallels are just uncanny. With hybrid minds, you worry about a new form of inequality, the enhanced versus the unaugmented. With AI, it's the same problem, just framed as who gets access to the most powerful systems. With hybrids, we have to ask, who owns your digital memories? With AI, it's who gets to define its goals and rewards. And both paths force us to confront the deepest questions about identity. Is that hybrid consciousness still really you? And on the other side, what exactly defines a person anyway? So, in the end, both of these frontiers are basically holding up a giant mirror to humanity. They're forcing us, right now, to decide what we actually value. We have to be the ones to set the rules of the road for this new era, because the choices we're making today aren't just going to shape our gadgets, they're going to redefine what it even means to be human. Which leaves us with one last, massive question to chew on. We're creating a future where the boundaries between us and our machines are not just getting blurry, but are they on the verge of dissolving entirely? And if they do, what kind of world does that leave us with? That's the question we all need to start asking ourselves.